Hi guys, Neil Waterhouse. Received a question from Tony Perkins. One of Tony's listings is sold over 500 times, but his supplier has now updated the product to a newer model and he can't purchase the older model anymore. Tony wants to know if there is any way he can keep that listing as it shows over 500 sold. He wants to know if he can just revise that listing, or does he need to end that listing and start a new listing. Now the problem of course with ending the listing is that he will lose all that social proof of where eBay shows potential buyers that the item sold over 500 times. Okay, ethically, if the item is totally different, you should definitely end that listing and start a brand new one. However, let me tell you what some sellers do. Now I'm not saying to do this, I'm just telling you what some sellers do, and that is if they stop selling a product for whatever reason, they simply change the photos and the description to a totally different brand new item. Now but by doing this, they list a brand new item by revising an old listing, in this case a listing with over 500 sold. Now I'm not saying to do this as, it's unethical, and can also sometimes create buyer confusion, as if the purchaser of the older item looks through their purchase history in eBay, they'll suddenly see the photo of the new item that you've changed the photo. Now I know one seller who was selling indoor-outdoor weather stations, who did this same strategy. The seller was selling the outdoor weather stations or indoor-outdoor weather stations and on a listing which had sold literally hundreds of times. The seller then decided to move that item to another listing and replace it with a totally different item. One day the seller received a message from one of their buyers saying they never purchased this item. And what happened was, the purchaser was looking through their purchase history and suddenly saw a picture of this brand new widget. The seller replied saying they'd simply changed the picture of the weather station to the picture of the new widget. Now again, I'm not saying to do this strategy as it's unethical and can lead to buyer confusion, and it's also against eBay policy. So to answer your question, Tony, if it's a brand new, totally different product, you should definitely end that listing and create a new listing for the new product. If you're in this for the long term, always err on the side of caution and never build a business out of quicksand by trying to bend the rules. That's all for this week. Please scroll down and leave me a comment below. Until next week, listen more, sell more. This is Neil Waterhouse.